corrupt WNBA system, and now she's the managing director for the USA women's national team. In other words, the Olympics. I got to tell you, and let me just say this. Caitlin Clark really has not been right at all, particularly shooting and from an injury standpoint, ever since that Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles, we haven't put enough emphasis on her.
A recent podcast segment featuring former WNBA stars Tina Charles and Sue Bird has generated significant controversy within basketball circles. The discussion centered around a previous incident involving Caitlin Clark, with the two veterans appearing to dismiss concerns about physical play directed toward the rookie sensation. The controversy stems from their handling of a specific game incident where Clark was involved in what many observers described as overly aggressive contact. Video footage from multiple angles shows what appears to be deliberate physical contact that goes beyond typical basketball play. The incident occurred during a particularly heated exchange between players, with several participants becoming involved in the altercation.
We haven't put enough emphasis on her now that other angles are available. And in my opinion, it looks like she punched Caitlin Clark in the back. That's my opinion. That's what I see. All right? She can laugh it off, blah, 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 and I'm sure she is laughing it off. I would say because she doesn't want to retort from the WNBA, but Kathy Engelbert is spineless. And let me be honest, so is Adam Silver. Adam Silver, you look spineless because you refused.
Sue Bird's position as managing director for the USA women's national team adds another layer of complexity to the situation. Her role in Olympic team selection gives her considerable influence over Clark's international basketball opportunities. This dual position as both commentator and decision-maker has raised questions about potential conflicts of interest. The physical incident in question involved Marina Mabrey and occurred during a game that many consider a turning point in Clark's rookie season. Multiple camera angles reveal what appears to be a closed fist strike to Clark's back area, followed by additional contact that some describe as hair-pulling. The sequence of events unfolded rapidly during an already intense moment in the game.
Adam Silver, you look spineless because you refuse to get involved here. And I think Kathy Engelbert is taking the opinion of all this drama is a great thing for the league because it gets the conversation going. Is it? Because I can tell you right now, with Caitlin Clark fans, there's going to be a tipping point where it goes to the other direction. And that other direction is bleep this league. We're out. We're tired of watching the person we want to support.
Clark's performance statistics show a notable decline following this particular contest, with shooting percentages dropping significantly in subsequent games. The timing correlation between the incident and her performance struggles has not gone unnoticed by statistical analysts tracking her season progression. The podcast segment showed both Charles and Bird discussing the incident with apparent amusement, describing their reactions during the live action. Their commentary included detailed descriptions of the sequence of events, with both players seeming to find humor in the situation rather than expressing concern about player safety.
Get the shit beat out of them during these games. I mean, honestly. And sometimes I wonder, with these games that Caitlin Clark has missed, has there been some thought of just quitting this league? I mean, I can only imagine being Caitlin Clark's parents. Remember, at the very beginning of the season, in the preseason, they interviewed her father, Holly Rowe.
Fan reaction to the podcast has been overwhelmingly negative, with many expressing disappointment in Sue Bird specifically. Her previous commentary on Clark-related incidents had been generally balanced, making this apparent shift in tone particularly jarring for supporters who had viewed her as a fair analyst. The incident has reignited discussions about officiating standards in women's professional basketball. Critics argue that inconsistent enforcement of contact rules creates an environment where excessive physicality becomes normalized. The league's response to such incidents has become a focal point for broader debates about player protection.
Holly Rowe did in the crowd, and he brought up his daughter and the physicality of the league, what the league calls physicality, what we call beating the shit out of Caitlin Clark. He brought it up. He said the refs aren't doing their jobs. They're not regulating the sport. You know this is a major, major topic in the Clark family household.
Several teammates have been identified as potentially supportive of Clark, with Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull mentioned as allies within the league. However, questions have been raised about the overall reception Clark has received from other players both on her own team and across the league. The economic implications of fan dissatisfaction have become increasingly relevant as viewership numbers directly correlate with Clark's appearances. League officials face the challenge of balancing traditional playing styles with the need to protect marquee players who drive audience engagement.
I mean, this has got to be rough watching this. You see this comment, hugely disappointed and lost all respect for both Sue Bird and Tina Charles. How is this okay? Question mark. Caitlin, don't play in the Olympics if Sue has anything to do with it. Well, she's going to have everything to do with it. She's the managing director, and that's not going to change. I can tell you right now.
But insert pictures here. I sent you these pictures after.
International playing opportunities have been suggested as alternatives should domestic league issues persist. European leagues reportedly offer significantly higher compensation packages and may provide more welcoming environments for American players seeking different competitive experiences. The technical foul assessed to Clark following the incident has been cited as particularly problematic, with critics arguing that penalizing the victim while ignoring the initial aggression sends concerning messages about league priorities. This officiating decision has become symbolic of broader concerns about fairness in game management.
Going to change. I can tell you right now.
But insert pictures here. I sent you these pictures after, the big, the scrum, Connecticut Sun.
That's the pictures you show? That's it. That's it. We'll look at some pictures in a minute, but I can see why you didn't include them because y'all ain't going to be able to get such a big kick out of these other ones, or maybe you will, actually, to be honest with you. But that's just because of how I think this league gets down. They don't like Caitlin Clark.
Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's handling of various Clark-related incidents has drawn criticism from multiple quarters. Her approach to discipline and public statements regarding physical play standards has been characterized by some as inadequate for protecting high-profile players. The Connecticut Sun connection adds another dimension to the controversy, with several key figures having ties to that organization. These relationships have led to speculation about potential coordinated efforts to diminish Clark's impact on the league landscape. Video evidence from the incident continues to circulate on social media platforms, with frame-by-frame analysis revealing details that were not immediately apparent during live broadcasts. These enhanced views have strengthened arguments about the deliberate nature of the contact.
Like Caitlin Clark, I'm starting to think there's two players that like Caitlin Clark, if you want to know the absolute truth. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull. There are times I feel like, if I'm being real, that her own teammates, a lot of them, don't like her. In my honest opinion, I don't think Natasha Howard likes her. I don't think Sydney Colson likes her. She certainly doesn't respect her, or she wouldn't have been trying to butt effort.
The broader implications for Olympic team selection remain uncertain, given Bird's influential position in that process. Clark's potential participation in international competition could be affected by these interpersonal dynamics within the basketball community. League attendance and television ratings have shown direct correlations with Clark's participation, creating economic pressures that may influence future policy decisions. The financial stakes involved in maintaining fan engagement have elevated these incidents beyond simple on-court matters. The podcast segment has been characterized by many as tone-deaf, particularly given the serious nature of the underlying incident. The casual treatment of what many view as assault has damaged the reputations of both participants in the eyes of significant portions of the fan base.
Business. For the Dallas Wings, Arike is garbage. I think that's the only word that I can use to describe Arike is garbage. I don't know if Arike, what's happening to Arike or what happened to Arike, but she has been, I repeat, garbage. She's been garbage all year. She's been garbage outside of a couple of games, like she had a Sky game and stuff. She's been garbage
Comparisons have been drawn to other sports where star players receive preferential treatment designed to protect league investments. The contrast between those approaches and the current situation in women's basketball has highlighted fundamental differences in organizational priorities. Social media responses have been uniformly critical, with longtime supporters of both Charles and Bird expressing disappointment and loss of respect. The viral nature of the controversy has extended far beyond typical basketball discourse, reaching mainstream sports commentary.
Vast majority of the year. And with that being said, like, I don't know if I can say much more than that. She's been horrendous. She's been absolutely horrendous. Louisa Geisel-Soter I thought was fine, or Geisel-Suter. I thought JJ Quinterly at least tried hard when she was on. Maisha Hines-Allen. De'Ara McCown was so bad. You might say here, oh, she only played 8 minutes and was -7. No, she was terrible.
The incident has become emblematic of broader cultural issues within women's professional basketball, including questions about mentorship, sisterhood, and the treatment of generational talents. These deeper themes have elevated the discussion beyond simple game analysis. Future implications for Clark's career trajectory remain unclear, with various scenarios ranging from continued domestic play to international opportunities. The resolution of these tensions may ultimately determine not only her path, but also the league's ability to capitalize on unprecedented fan interest. The controversy has highlighted the delicate balance between competitive intensity and player safety, with long-term consequences for how the sport is perceived by potential new audiences. The league's response to this situation may set precedents for handling similar incidents in the future. Player advocacy groups have begun weighing in on the situation, with calls for clearer guidelines regarding acceptable physical contact and more consistent enforcement of existing rules. These organizational voices add institutional weight to individual fan concern.
And Paige Beckers was... Paige is fine. Paige is fine. Paige shot the ball and scored the ball really well. It's just Paige is not. Paige does not free up teammates. Let's be honest here. Paige is by no means a point guard. She is a shooting guard who is able to initiate the offense. Paige does not draw, like, everything when it comes to Paige. Like, she is not a true point guard. She is a two guard.
The economic impact of sustained controversy extends beyond immediate viewership effects, potentially influencing sponsorship decisions and media partnerships that depend on positive league perception. Corporate stakeholders may pressure for resolution of ongoing conflicts. International basketball organizations have reportedly taken notice of the situation, with some expressing interest in providing alternative competitive opportunities. This external attention adds pressure on domestic league officials to address underlying issues. The incident has also sparked discussions about the role of veteran players in welcoming new talent versus protecting established hierarchies. These generational tensions reflect
has the ability to play to one, which is she's a combo guard. But what she doesn't do is she doesn't create for other players. Like, I'm not going to say she can't play the point guard, but she is better at the two. The problem is that JJ Quinterly is not really the right point guard to have her at the one. She'd be a really good, like, shooting guard for... I'm trying to just think off the top of my head of, like, what point guard would be really good with Paige. Like, a prime salute. Someone like that would be great beside Paige.
The long-term effects on Clark's relationship with teammates, opponents, and league officials remain to be seen. Her response to these challenges may ultimately define her legacy within the sport and influence how future stars navigate similar situations. The inaugural matchup between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers concluded with both players delivering solid performances, though Indiana thoroughly dominated Dallas in a commanding victory that met expectations. Dallas wings struggled significantly throughout the contest, with several players underperforming. Early in the game, Satou Sabally provided some offensive spark for Dallas, creating problems for Indiana's defense. However, the Wings faced major issues with other key contributors.
Because they would get the ball to Paige where she wants it. And I think Paige playing with the right people around her could really, really help. But, like, this team is just horribly constructed. And they don't get any better when Dejanay Carton comes back. Like, Paige isn't selfish. She's a pure two. She hit some circus shots today. And by the way, she is the best whistle in the WNBA. She hacked Sophie Cunningham and somehow was given as an offensive foul. And she fouled Caitlin Clark on a fast break. Caitlin went flying into the rim post, and the refs just ignored it. But
Arike Ogunbowale has been particularly disappointing this season, showing inconsistent play that can only be described as subpar. Her performance has been problematic for most of the campaign, with only occasional bright spots like her previous game against Chicago. The overall trend reveals concerning struggles from a player expected to lead the team. Taira McCowan had limited impact during her brief court time, managing just 8 minutes while posting a -7 rating. Her contribution was minimal and ineffective when Dallas needed production from their front court players. Louise Sauter performed adequately in her role, while JC Sheldon showed effort when defending against Michaela Onyenwere. However, these positive moments couldn't overcome the team's broader struggles.
Now let's talk about the Fever. Let's talk about the Fever. And there's one player that I know we're going to look at the box score and everything, and you're going to be like, thank you so much for $20. Hey, from Gamebridge, such a fun game to watch. I agree. The Fever ran. The Fever ran. There is one player that I mean this was so important, and I don't think people realize, like, when you look at the game and they're not going to give the importance.
Paige Bueckers demonstrated her scoring ability and shot-making skills effectively. However, her role reveals important limitations in her current position. Bueckers functions more as a shooting guard who can initiate offense rather than a traditional point guard. Her skill set doesn't naturally create opportunities for teammates in the way pure point guards do. The positional challenge becomes evident when examining her partnership with Sheldon. Neither player optimally complements the other in a backcourt pairing. Bueckers would benefit from playing alongside a traditional point guard who could set her up in scoring positions, similar to how elite playmakers have historically elevated shooting guards.
Michaela Timpson, even though she was a -5, she came up. The first quarter of this game was 27-28. Michaela Timpson had 4 first quarter points. It was a +5. She had 2 offensive rebounds in the first quarter. KK Timpson was absolutely key to this team winning. She was a key to this team winning their games.
The team construction issues become apparent when considering that even the return of injured players won't address fundamental roster problems. Bueckers excels as a scorer, but requires better surrounding pieces to maximize her impact. Notably, Bueckers received favorable officiating throughout the game, including questionable calls that benefited Dallas. Despite these advantages, the Wings couldn't capitalize on opportunities to stay competitive.
Winning today. So I'm not going to say anything negative about KK. She wasn't great, but early great at the end. But like, Bree Turner plays 3 minutes as a -6. Like, but yeah, with the rest of the Fever, Natasha Howard. Like, if I'm going to criticize Natasha Howard when she's garbage, I'm going to praise her when she's good. Natasha Howard was as good as can be because she just ran. She ran and just took easy shots. She made layups.
Indiana's performance showcased several standout individual efforts that contributed to their dominant victory. Michaela Onyenwere proved crucial during the opening quarter despite finishing with a -5 rating. Her early impact included 4 first-quarter points and 2 offensive rebounds while posting a +5 rating in that crucial period. The significance of Onyenwere's contribution cannot be overstated. Her energy and effort during the game's opening moments helped establish Indiana's tempo and provided the foundation for their eventual blowout victory.